Hello, 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 everyone. Hey, Julia.
Hey, Chrissy. Hi,
It is cold
everyone.
outside. Oh my goodness. I'm
Brr.
wearing like 3 layers right now.
It's cold for us Floridians, right? 30 degrees. Yes.
Anyway, I am super excited to talk about 21 strategies for 2021 with JHC. And just so everybody knows, I'll be taking all your questions and comments behind the scenes to make sure that I can get those to Julia, because I am going to be grabbing my pen and paper and writing all of these strategies down. So first of all, Julia, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself for anyone that doesn't know and lives under a rock right now. And also give us a little bit of your background and what we'll be talking about today.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. You make this so much more easier having you on and helping me out. For those of you who haven't checked out any of my accounts or even just watched my live streams, my name is Julia Holly. I've been a designer for over 14, 15 years, and I've been saying it for several years now, so I'm sure it's more than that. And I've been running my business now, JH Creative, for about 7+ years. In recent years, I've focused more on consultation and helping folks get organized with their marketing, because I know how to do all kinds of projects. And I'll talk about my background in further detail after we cover the most important part, which is 21 strategies for 2021. For those of you, I believe, yes, my screen is sharing. Thank you so much, Chrissy. As far as the first few slides is concerned, I wanted to show you how I went to San Francisco, or lived in San Francisco and went to Academy of Art University in San Francisco. I majored in advertising design. Here's my family. I do have 4 little kiddos. I have a couple tweens. It is a hot mess. Yeah, you could just say hashtag hot mess mama. I am not one of those stay-at-home wives. I did do that for several years now in the beginning of my motherhood experience, and I realized quickly that I wasn't meant to be that mom. But I'm so thankful that I have such beautiful kids, and they're awesome, and my husband is so supportive of me. This is more like my life. Yeah, you can see a little bit of what it's like on the inside. So I primarily love helping people save time and money without breaking the bank. I saw how my father had spent so much money in the end after even building a business from scratch and making millions, still threw away a lot of money because of bad advice. So I'm very passionate about helping small business owners and solopreneurs save a lot of money, and without having to close their business prematurely after a year or two of really trying super hard to get it going. So the main key points for today's show: I attended Digital Marketers event called 21 for 21 Challenge. And I'll tell you in further detail of what all they covered, and I'll talk about what they implemented. They, as in the experts who spoke at the event, post-pandemic, what they managed to do and still make a lot of money. So I really hope that this show provides a lot of value to you all, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the value that I provide. So one day maybe we can work together, or I could at least help you and point you to the right direction. So what has worked? Ryan Deiss, the founder of Digital Marketer, has created this event called Traffic and Conversions several years ago. And one of the things they did uniquely this year was this challenge. They don't typically do this. This was one of the first challenges, I believe, running this, because they had to pivot and change everything from in-person event to a digital event like this challenge. And so what they decided to do and quickly organized is they invited over, I would say it was at least 20+ folks who presented one strategy. And the reason why, at first it was going to be just 21, right? And then in the last couple of days invited a lot more. So we got a ton of extra strategies. I'm only covering 21 main strategies, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, I was able to access backstage. I got the ticket. I was like, wow, this is a great deal. I had signed up for their emails a while ago, and I got a invite. And of course, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely jumping on this opportunity. I got the backstage pass. I got the recordings. I attended. Here, this is an older slide, but I did attend 8 out of 12 days at this time. But I did attend the entire event. And managed to cover all of the shows, and then took notes, participated in the homework assignments, posted my homework assignments, yada, yada, yada. I'm saving you all the headache, and also saving you all the headache of all the upsells that they still included, of course, in their show. Of course, with every event, there's always something that they want to sell, right? So I'm just going to cover the most important parts, at least the key points that I got out of it that you can implement in your business model for 2021. So Roland Frazier, he's over here. He has done a lot of consultation and has been a mentor to many folks and helps people acquire businesses. So one of the first strategies they covered was business acquisitions. And this obviously doesn't apply to me or a smaller business, but I thought that was still neat to know about. His key point was that the X factor in acquisitions has to do with, the value of market share that business is, or will they bring in leads automatically, and the infrastructure and the lifetime customer value and margin and innovation of that business. So it maybe one business can specialize in each of these different descriptions or principles, or they have a couple of these strengths. As long as they do provide something that you don't already have or that you don't already provide in your business, then that would be a great move for you to acquire. Obviously, I'm not going to help anyone do that right now at this point, but I thought that was neat to know. Richard Linder is the president of Digital Marketer, and he gave this one tip that I believe everyone was super thrilled about, including myself, because he said that they implemented this earlier on in the spring. All they did was a 9-word email. They put in a personal touch by putting that person's name in the subject line, and they got like a huge amount of response. They broke records with their percentage on open rate and click-through rate. So he said, you can implement this strategy today and you will get a great amount of result. And you keep this email very simple. Like the sentence would say, are you looking to grow your business in 2021? That's it. And then you just end it there and then see how many people respond. And so I did that, and I got over 50% response rate. And then from there, it led to more leads and potential recommendations as well. And Ryan Dice also added in a tip here. So one of the things he mentioned, they all dive into like deep details, obviously, and frameworks and tips. Just for the sake of time, I'm just highlighting this one point. He said that you can actually, maybe you've been building content for years, but now you need to monetize that and figure out like, how can you actually get money, and how can you sell through all this free content you've been pushing out? Now you should really consider, if you have a bigger base or a big following, and they're loyal, you might as well start converting some of that content into a subscription model. So if you have an email list, and even like a podcast following, you can convert that to subscription. And that's a model that I would like to implement for one of my big ideas for next year, which is brewing, and it has been brewing for a while now.
So I've got a question actually in regards to the email marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So the recommendation is to make sure when you're sending out emails that you put that person's name in there, and then in the actual email, is that where you put the meat, or is it just, do you want to grow your business, or is that in the subject line?
Yes. So the example that they actually said was just keep it to one sentence. You actually want the person's name. You can even just put the person's name also within the email thread, but just, hi, Chrissy, and then just leave it blank, you know, and then just the next, when you open up the email, then you put in the sentence there. So you can even test it. One of the common themes that I kept seeing throughout the entire event is that they said, just test it, you know, and in the end, they highlighted, you know, one of the things they encouraged us to do is take 3 to 5 strategies, whatever your capacity allows, to implement right away. So as I was going through all these challenges, they made us think about like what, you know, what can we do to apply this to our business? And I was able to think of 3 to 5 for sure that I would implement right away. And I was, you know, I definitely did the email one already to test. And then there's some others that definitely are on my wish list. And I'll talk about like what I've already started and tested out as well. So for day 2, Ryan Levesque, and keep in mind, I didn't know half these people, but I was just like, I'm so thrilled that I listened and watched all these people present because I got so much value out of it. Ryan Levesque also started, and they all have a lot of stories like this. They started with like very, very minimal and then blew up in time. And so now he's making millions as well, using quiz funnels. He had sold us software as well. Oh yeah, he's a founder of Bucket.io. So quiz funnels is the strategy he recommended. And that means that you start a campaign, whether it's through social media or a software, which obviously he was trying to encourage people to use. And what it helps you do is it helps you segment your audiences right away instead of having like a huge list. With quiz funnels, it helps you organize different people and audiences based on different needs. So one of the things he recommended is doing it based on 3 types of quizzes. And it's all designed based on personality or a diagnostic on like some of the things that, you know, can cause problems. He calls it the killer type of quiz. And just kind of identifying like what it is like that's causing issues with their business. And then there's a scoring based type of quiz. So I don't specialize in this, but I would love to still use this type of strategy for my social media just to kind of get an idea of like getting to know my audience more, like instead of it being such a broad, you know, category of just women professionals, what specific type of women professional will really actually benefit from following me, that kind of thing. And Marissa Murgatroyd, she's so awesome. I love how she found and her team designed a software and it helps people get incentivized results for finishing a course. So, you know, if you are in the digital marketing space, everybody knows how course creation and education and anything along those lines is pretty much blowing up. And it has been around for a while. It's just now it's to the point where everybody knows about it and they all want to do it. But the secret about, the dirty little secret about the industry is that 97% of courses aren't really finished or completed, or people tend to want a refund. So she found that with the implementation of gaming or rewarding people as they finish and make progress in the course, she found that the retention was so much higher. So they designed a program, and her program is called Experienceify. I'm not trying to sell anybody here or trying to push anybody else's program, but that's just something that might be of use to you guys to consider. So that's why she calls the dopamine button. Like when you give somebody an incentive and they win and they've made progress with the course, then they're going to want to finish. They have more motivation to keep going. So on day 3, Damon John was also a special guest. A lot of you know about him, Shark Tank. He is founder of FUBU. So his main key point was know your why. And if any of you is also familiar with Simon Sinek, he's the reason, he's the one who pretty much originally came up with that idea of like, Knowing Your Why and the book that Simon Sinek also had a book on that. And so I really appreciate that Damon John just confirmed that too. And I really appreciated that Ryan Dice and Damon talked about the personal level of the struggles of, everything that's going on this year with the shutdowns and even the social injustice. They touched a little bit about when everything's kind of falling apart, what really is what's the most important thing in life, really? And he even had to reflect that. And he actually said that he mentioned a little bit why do I travel so much? I really am okay being at home and being with my little daughter and still being able to work, from home. And I don't have to grind so much, And so anyways, just reflecting personally, having that a little bit of vulnerable side of Damon and discussing that. And it really comes down to knowing your why and focusing on your audience and not so much focusing on just selling your products and focusing on what it is that you do. Because people in the end buy why you do what you do, not what you do. And then Julie Stowen, who's also a mom and she's a digital marketer. And one of the things that she recommends is, her main point was selling a low ticket offer. So her strategy is, you actually can get away with still getting a low ticket offer as, the beginning stage of getting lead as a lead magnet. And then it in turn could still bring in folks that actually want to buy a high ticket offer. So for example, you provide a lot of value to one product, let's say a digital download or something. It's probably worth hundreds of dollars. And even at the time that you put in, if you were to just do it for one customer, for example, for me, I charge 100 per hour, but if it took me ooh, my phone is ringing. If it took me, 10 hours to do for just one customer, then that would be $1,000. And will I really charge someone that who's struggling right now during the shutdowns? Instead of doing that, I can just provide it for a broader customer segment, right? And then still sell it at a lower price, maybe $50, as an example. And then people will be like, oh my gosh, that's a great deal. Why would you do that? You earn their trust and they'll probably want to continue to do business with you in the long term because in the end, they trust you and they want to continue to support you because you've given so much to them in the beginning.
Yeah, I really want to comment on the know your why part of it because for me personally as a business owner, the reason why I left my career of 10 years is for a better quality of life. And so it's important to make sure that your business aligns with what you want in life, because if it doesn't, then you're not going to be happy. And so it's important to think about that why and also implement things within your business to get to that why as well.
Yes. And I mean, even just considering, we follow the brands that emphasize and clarify that message, right? We really do. We're major brand fans in a sense. People buy Apple not because of just their products, but even initially was because of their movement of thinking differently, and they're not part of the norm or status quo, right? They're the creative, rebellious group of individuals. So yeah, absolutely, I echo that, and I think it resonates with people. People see that, so we have to emphasize that in our content and whatever we do with our marketing. So Rachel Miller, she was so entertaining. She has, I could be wrong, but she probably has 6 kids or 7 kids. She had triplets in the last round, but it was really inspirational to see her speaking and just kind of representing moms out there who have a ton of kids. And she can still manage a business and make millions. It's pretty awesome. So she, behind the scenes, was a consultant behind the Poop Unicorn. I don't know if everyone if you're familiar with that. But she also is a digital marketer. She's an advisor. She's a coach. And so her main strategy and her point was, what's your one message? And you have to identify, your audience, like what it is that they truly love, what do they truly hate, and where do you see yourself in the future, and how do you communicate that to your customer that you can help them bring them to that destination, right? And one of the things she went through personally with all of the chaos that was going on was she had so much content everywhere. She realized she had to pare back and simplify. So she said, okay, you might have, a YouTube channel, you have a podcast, you have, direct mail going out, you have ads everywhere. She started pulling back and simplifying so she could just focus on the most important things. And that really helped her tremendously, because sometimes it can get so overwhelming you can't keep up with all this content. And I recommend that to business owners with smaller teams or a smaller marketing budget. Don't try to do everything. Don't try to throw your content everywhere and not get any result. Don't try to overspend and put ads everywhere hoping that somebody will bite. That's not really effective advertising. You're just throwing money away. And so I really like that she just said, just simplify to your one key message and focus on that. And then Russ Rufino, this guy is pretty awesome too. So his philosophy is the high ticket offer. I know I just talked about a low ticket offer, but the high ticket offer is also key for the customers that will listen to you if you're actually charging a good amount of money. There are those customers that will take you more seriously if you are offering the high ticket offer, and they don't tend to take it's that customer base that won't take you as seriously if you're just offering like low pricing, and then they won't value as much. It's definitely a mind game, but apparently this is a thing. If you want the high ticket client, you should price yourself as long as you're confident enough to be out there and you have a credibility and social proof to back it up that you can offer a high ticket product. So, and I have just, and I, in the last couple of years, I've gotten through that mindset. Like I am valued at this much, X, Y, and Z. And it has definitely made things more, let's say work-life balance has been feasible for me. It has been rough this year, 2020, but I was able to just focus on improving some things internally and getting organized for 2021. So he mentioned that like with his clients, they might have started, at a certain rate per month, but he has clients that are making like 1 million a month. And this is all through coaching programs that he designed online. And he specializes on making sure that his clients are focusing on their superpower, on their expertise. Like the key thing is you're selling transformation or you're selling an actual result. Those are the things that people will pay anything for, as long as you get you communicate your message to the right people who actually will pay for that. He used a crazy example like handstand expert. I'm like, who would pay so much money? But apparently this handstand expert makes 6 figures, because now with his course and the way that Russ Rufino taught him, like he's managing to train people on how to do handstanding or handstands. I think I'm okay on time. I was just checking this out. So Joe Vera and Matt Wolf, so they are podcasters, but they also had experience with all kinds of other types of marketing. And one of the things that they encouraged in the challenge is like, get featured on a podcast, try to come up with a list. They do provide, I love this, that they'll give you tips, but they also link to sources and everything. Of course, Google's should be our best friend, because you could find these things. But the nice thing is that they were able to share us actual links to speed up the process of finding, great resources to get it going. So for them, they recommend like come up with a list of 100, pick your best 5, have a dream list of some sort too, like, and then contact these podcasts so that you can either be a guest or you can actually even invite them as a guest to your podcast if you're going to start podcasting. Because if for those of you who aren't aware, podcasting is obviously exploding in more recent years, and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be oversaturated, but not necessarily. I believe it's still, there's still so much viability and opportunity in that space, because you can come up with the most unique topic that no one's covering, and you can probably do well after a year or two of investing that time of pushing out that type of content. So that is on my wish list to implement for 2021. I do have a niche topic. That's another discussion to have later. And then
I got a question about podcasts.
Yes.
For businesses who are looking to get their message out there, would you necessarily compile a list of just business type podcasts, or how would you segment it towards your audience, or if it's a business podcast, or
Yes. No, this is great, because there are you obviously know there's like thousands, probably if not millions at this point. I would, I have my favorite podcasts, and then from there, I also see like what suggestions pop up. The other thing too is like you want to look for podcasters that don't have a huge following. When I say huge, meaning maybe they don't have like 100,000 plus. It depends on your following, how, where your leverage is. Like maybe you're a beginner and you want to just get some exposure to a minimal extent. You can look at podcasters who might have like 10,000 followers, or social media influencers that already is pushing out a lot of valuable content, maybe 20,000, 20 to 50, and then you can have them as a guest as well. As far as businesses, like B2B, it really depends. I would do research on the content that they're already featuring and who are they inviting as guests. So, I would start with that too. There's quite a few that I'm eyeing right now that's more on the newer side, but it also depends. Like, does it align with your audience? Does it align with your values? Does the person, what are they like in their other social media channels? That kind of thing. I don't know if that. Yeah, I don't know if that. Yeah, so I'm gathering that your real question is like, how do you know where to start, kind of thing, right? Where do you prioritize? Yes. Yeah. That's how I would do it.
Awesome.
Thank you. No, these questions are really helpful. I know I'm just like kind of fly through this. We are halfway through. We're almost going to go cover the second half of 21 strategies. So Joel Marion. Okay, so Joe Fier and Matt Wolf are right here. Joe Marion's right here. How to scale an email list. So this guy, he is a email marketing guru too. I mean, there's so many of them, but so that's why I'm like, oh, I never heard of him. But it was really impressive. So he says that free reports are the most effective lead magnet. So when maybe in the subject line says like, oh, free report on, how to lose X amount of pounds. Like he specializes in physical training and health and nutrition. So that's why he used that as an example. But aside from video as part of your lead magnet, both would be really good pieces of content for your email list. So he apparently manages like millions of subscribers in his list. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, that would be awesome. So yeah, so definitely include a free report or a video. Okay, so Pedro Adao, if I'm saying it right, he specializes in the challenge framework. If you've noticed that you're starting to see people push out challenges online, which, by the way, I have my own challenge coming up, and I'll talk about that later. So I'm implementing that as one of my strategies for next year. The challenge framework is a great way to get people engaged and learning everything that you want to teach them and what they want to know to get an actual outcome or result out of that challenge. And then in the end, they'll really want to work with you further on. It really does something. And it's happened to me personally. So participating in this challenge, for example, or participating in other challenges like the video challenge, like that really sticks in your mind that, okay, I'm going to go to this person for this expertise and for them to do whatever I need them to do or to learn from them. So the challenge framework is definitely something that people should consider for next year. And then Chris Voss, right here, some of you might know, he was a FBI negotiator and he's an author. He's now a coach as well, and he teaches companies how to do best practices on negotiation. I would love to learn from him because I'm not the best negotiator. I'm that creative person that doesn't love to push people to do something they don't want to do. So one of the neat scenarios that he did with, I believe it was Roland Frazier at the time, was how to negotiate a hotel upgrade. So one of the tips he recommended too is that with his commanding presence, obviously, you just go to the person at the front and then you just say, I know I'm probably going to be a pain in the bottom. Well, he obviously wouldn't say bottom, but for asking this, and you probably think this is lame, but is there any way, what do you think about, an upgrade, for a hotel? And then he also mentioned too, like, disarm them by acknowledging somebody that they did a great job with that last person. Man, that person was kind of hard to deal with, wasn't it? Just disarm them, get them to trust you right away. And then he said, just by staring at them seriously, like no flinch, no blank, and then you get them to consider it, you'll actually be surprised. They actually will start to help you. And Roland Frazier, who was interviewing him at the time, he's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I say, hey, what's your favorite part in the hotel? Like, do you have a presidential suite? Like, what's the best part of this hotel? And so both of them talked about how they managed to get upgrades to rooms that cost thousands of dollars more, and they only paid, a couple $100. So that was kind of neat. But the other thing too is like the main point of negotiation is you don't ever want to go halfway. And you also want to, he mentioned for parents, if you're trying to negotiate with your kids, do something to make them consider and think about, make them think, tire them out. And for some reason, somehow that works. Like in time, they'll give in. So I thought that was neat. I thought that was pretty cool. And Jay Abraham, he is one of the highest paid marketers, apparently. And so he was like one of those speakers that you're just like, wow, how do you think like that? You're just constantly thinking about different strategies and different ways of doing things. And so one of the things he did this year was he negotiated prices down for radio commercial buys. And the reason why he suggested that to a client is because they were willing to just give away space on radio and spots on radio because nobody was buying. So they, earlier on, when people stopped buying, people stopped using Facebook ads, that was like a great time to like just push and advertise and spend money because it was cheaper. So they leveraged that. And then the other thing too he recommended is doing things that nobody else was doing. Just because either people were afraid due to the shutdowns, but taking that next step and just being a little bit more bold and considering, just it's okay. People are hunkering down, so take that advantage to kind of take the opportunity to be out there. So day 7, and keep in mind it's 12 days, but I'm day 11, day 12. There's not a whole lot talking about day 11, day 12. So I'm almost there. So John Asaraf, this was on a Sunday too. I had to watch part of the recordings, and but it was neat. He he's a neuroscientist type coach type thing, consultant. And so his main thing is like training your brain, your brand. Thank you, typo. Training your brain to be mindful. Like you have to consider like and reflect, and it's all about like taking a step back and concentrating and focusing and not overdoing it and exhausting yourself. Sometimes he even said taking a break every hour and just like letting your mind reset for 5 minutes. And he suggested some breathing exercises as well, and which is really important, especially for people like me. I don't know how to relax, if you can tell. But he also mentioned your brain is worth billions. You need to treat it as if it's like a software. Even though it is a living organism, you have to rest your mind after you've been just kind of constantly thinking, constantly maybe even stressing. It's good to just give your brain a break, and then it just gives a nice reset and you're able to focus more. And Jennifer Hootie is a sought after copywriter. She's done work for all kinds of brands and even experts, and she helps provide copywriting. She provides services that helps convert. So she talked about best formulas, and I'm not going to get into the details of that, but the key thing is you want to make sure that the content, educates, it entertains, and you're consistent with your messaging. And then also you need to include a call to action. So I really appreciate the exercise that she also provided. So Jen Gottlieb and Chris Winfield, talk about a power couple. They have so much energy, and they talked about 5 elements of a key pitch and how to get featured on media. So some things might be more straightforward, and some things, you need to just consider. Like, of course, you want to be timely in your messaging. Like, what topic are you going to cover that's relevant of today? People are still thinking about like what ifs. People are unsure. There's lots of doubts. So you want to consider like what would be relevant to your audience. And then they mentioned you want to talk about your topic first. Don't talk about yourself first. Talk about your topic first, then yourself last. And then you establish credibility, which is obviously so important, but so many people miss that point, and they think like, why would people want to know that? But people need to know that. So, establish credibility, social proof, have you already been featured in the news, those kinds of things. And then putting your talking points in bullet format, having a nice format for producers to look at, because they really want a pitch slide or a document of some sort where they could just read something nicely and quickly. And then that way they know like, okay, this would be a good person to feature in the news. And then the last key important thing is like, you have to stand for something. You're no wishy-washy type of message. Like, what is it that you're going to talk about that's like 100%, because that, like, when you're halfway somewhere, or in the middle, that doesn't really do much for people. So they said stand for something. Dan Fleischman he started initially just promoting some energy product on social media. And then from there, he started advising businesses and just consulting. But he was primarily focusing on the recommendation of content creation and content planning. So a lot of the stuff that I already kind of knew, but it just confirmed everything about, micro influencers. I love this point too. You think that micro influencers don't really do much. And that, when I say micro, that means like they don't have a huge following. Maybe they have, from 5,000 to 10,000 followers. But yeah, anything more, like a lot of celebrities, they might have a huge following, but it doesn't mean that there's a lot of impact when they actually try to push a product on their accounts. So he said that they found folks with like 5,000 followers to, and even at a local level, I would say 1,000 to 5,000 at a local level is actually really, really good. So micro influencers can sell a product, and it actually will, you'll get engagement from it. You might get followers. You might actually generate some sales from promoting or sponsoring a post with a micro-influencer. And the other thing too is he mentioned repurposing content. Like that is so important. It'll save you so much time and energy if you do so. And Pete Vargas, he had to sub for this guy. He couldn't make it. Poor guy, Frank Curran. I'm not sure what happened. Pete Vargas was one of the main hosts. And so if you've heard of the term other people's money or other people's time, he came up with a term OPS, other people's stages. So instead of organizing an entire event and trying to promote an event on your own as a business, you should try to figure out a way to be a host or to be a guest on another person's stage or a virtual stage. In this case, with all these big events kind of limited, then try to get on a virtual stage. It's gonna save you a lot of time and energy and money. And I thought that was brilliant. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Don't use up so much time trying to promote your virtual event and no one shows up. Just try to get onto other people's virtual stages. 99. So Benton Crane, he is the president of Harmon Brothers. If you've heard of Harmon Brothers, they're like pretty influential with video marketing. They came up with the concept of, I'm seeing all the visuals. The unicorn that pooped or the purple mattress campaigns.
What's with the unicorn and the
I know, I keep mentioning it. I can't remember, like, I can't even remember the actual product, but it went viral. They also did flip books. I don't know if you remember or have seen the Instagram ads on that too. So they every time they come up with some kind of campaign, like the purple mattress, Goldilocks. I don't know if you saw those in the Three Bears and but yeah, so they came up with some viral video campaigns that were shared in the millions.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. So he was there and spoke about like how they decided this year. They realized so many businesses were shutting down. They were struggling with the shutdowns. They did a contest. So with the contest, they were going to give $100,000 worth of services to a company that people voted for and whatnot. So with the giveaway campaign, they didn't expect to get any results out of it. That wasn't their plan. They just wanted to help. But even with that contest, they got so many people to participate. The word spread about what they were doing, and they ended up getting people to sign on with them. So as an unintended result, because they weren't even expecting business out of it, they still got people. Yeah. So they still got people to not only participate to try to win the competition, but they also signed on with different courses that they had provided or sold online, and then some people even wanted to hire them to just do the work for them. And then Jennifer Allwood, she also is another mom. I love all these moms, and so I started following her. I started listening to her podcast. She's really an amazing woman. So she mentioned that the average millionaire has at least 7 streams of revenue to multiple streams of income is what makes a millionaire happen. So she mentioned like all the different streams that she uses. Some of the things are affiliate marketing, podcasting, email marketing. She's a social media influencer. She has a decent following, and she does a number of things too. And she has a coaching program. And then I believe the other things that come with it too is like she does the actual agency work, So anyways, that just like goes to show you could do many different things for just one brand, or you can do a few simple things and get really, really good at it, and build income from there. So Ty Lopez, some of you might be familiar with him. He has a big Instagram following, or just social media following in general. I know that people might have heard not so positive things about him, but apparently he actually wasn't so bad. Like that was the first time I heard him speak. He seemed so down to earth, and one of the things he did recently was acquire businesses. Like, I believe he acquired Pier 1 Imports, and he acquired, I believe, Dress Barn, of all things. The reason why he decided to is he knew like they were going to go down anyways. He wanted to help them pivot to online sales and everything. They might have done it at a smaller scale, but he also wanted to help them not only keep the businesses going, but also just kind of help them tremendously. And even then, now, like he's already helped their revenue streams increase and improve with online sales and things like that. So that was kind of neat to see. So day 10, Rudy Maurer, never heard of him before either, but he's another one of those young guys who knows a lot of digital marketing strategies. So he said what he noticed with his funnels is like sometimes with different funnels, if you've heard of sales funnels and you know, different examples, you know, when you have different pieces for getting people from, you know, knowing about your brand and getting interested and learning more about your brand and then signing up for an email, and from there they make a purchase, or they just continue to just stay and follow you. Email is like obviously one of the best lead generators and conversion tools in marketing. So he mentioned that he calls it a VSL, so video sales letter. So maybe you have a cold audience, or they've become warm and they signed up. So when they sign up for something out after seeing an ad on Facebook or social, send them a video sales letter and just say, hey, thanks for signing up, or send them a video talking about like your first main topic of your actual webinar in that email funnel. And that was kind of neat because you could see like everybody's like, wow, I didn't even think of that. And that was the nice thing about being backstage. We were chatting with each other and just kind of excited about all the information they were providing. So yeah, this is apparently like a new thing that not a lot of people do, is you put your first webinar within that funnel, within your email list or email funnel, and get people to, and this, keep in mind, is not free. They purchased a product, they signed up for an email, you send them another follow-up email, and then get them to purchase a product. And within that product is a video sales letter. So from there, like he saw a tremendous amount of improvement from folks getting that to folks responding to that first piece of email. And then after that, they signed on for a higher ticket offers. So that was kind of neat. Rachel Pedersen, she is a social media guru. I've seen her on Social Media Examiner. She does a lot of educational courses. And so not only does she provide social media services, but she also helps education. She also pushes out courses to help educate social media managers. And her main strategy for that day was focusing on one platform. And she mentioned, like, okay, all of these platforms are great. And she listed out, obviously, the top favorite ones that's popular right now. But she said one thing that she realized that was so effective this year for her was TikTok. And you probably have heard a lot of things. People are like, oh, it was going to ban or it was going to get banned, but it wasn't. And she was just like, I'm just still going to push through. And she has a TikTok group. So for anyone who wants to follow her, she has, I think, one of the only TikTok groups on Facebook. So one thing that she did this year, even though she's like killing it on a lot of multiple platforms, is that she really focused on TikTok, not just this year, but last year. And she noticed, like, in the summer, even with the shutdowns happening, she still got a ton of leads. And then not only did it generate so much traffic, she was still able to generate like millions of dollars from TikTok alone. So for anyone who wants more information on that, I'm still grasping how to do TikTok. I'm already practicing with Reels too, with Instagram Reels, but I think it's still worth a try. I mean, still, even though it's blowing up super fast in recent years, I still think it's worthwhile for you guys to understand like just how it works and yeah, in addition to Instagram, I actually did see a commercial on TikTok, and I made a purchase to sign up for a product on TikTok. So you would never think like.
I have a TikTok account now as well too. I'm in my 30s and I'm following all these people who are like TikTok geniuses and everything, and they're all young kids living in the same house. I don't know, it's so funny. But my first video, I did get over 800,000 views.
Ooh, so, girl!
Yeah, so
that was just your first video.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I have to admit, it was kind of like the right timing. So it was trending. So obviously, it was when President-elect Joe Biden was announced that he was president-elect, and I used to work in news, and so I had this video on my phone, and it was him ordering soul food at a local restaurant, and I posted it like that minute. And then I got all that.
Timing was great. Yeah, well, but 800,000. That's awesome. So then you need to keep, like, did you get a bunch of followers after that too?
Yeah, actually, I mean, that was like the one video that I got 800,000. Like the other ones, I got hundreds and hundreds of views, so that's still good. But
yeah,
I think really, obviously, the high profile, the content, and timing, all of that just kind of had a perfect marriage.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and. I noticed even without a ton of effort for me, one of my first videos, I only had a few thousand, but to me, that performance is way better than just my regular views that I'm getting on Facebook, Instagram, and even LinkedIn. So there's something with the algorithm that TikTok has that just performs magic somehow on these random videos. And I don't know if you saw the one that went viral with the cranberry juice, the ocean spray guy. that one blew up. He had he was using, what do you call it, a skateboard. So he was just skating and drinking a ocean spray, and he was playing a Fleetwood Mac song. And for some reason, everyone's like, oh, this is life. You know, you got a ton of comments, you got millions of views. So then from there, Ocean Spray donated a truck full of Ocean Spray cranberry juice to him. And then after that too, like a local dealership also gave him a free car. So you might as well just put TikToks up just for that. There's a free red truck. So yeah, it's neat. So on day 11, this was just pretty much like a free-for-all. I don't know. I think this was the one that had 4+ hours. I just had it running and listening to people while I was, working at the same time. They featured so many new folks. Some people like Billie Jean, and this guy, Mr. Caskell, he's a YouTuber, Think Media. He's also kind of, he's pretty famous on YouTube. And then Grant Cardone too. So they featured a lot of folks here. Shalene Johnson, if you follow her on social media, she's big also in the Instagram world. And so, they gave us so much really useful advice. I obviously don't have a ton of time to capture it all right now, and I can't believe it's like already 1:54. So I just wanted to mention that was an awesome bonus day. So we were thinking 21 strategies, but they actually went above and beyond and gave us a lot more. And then day 12 was just a recap, and then they just talked about everything here. So take a screenshot. These are your main strategies from day 1 to day 8. Here's day 9 to day 12. Take a screenshot, pause it, take a screenshot. And I will finish here because all the rest is really just about me, and that's not the most important thing. But yes, if anything you guys can take away from this, I would love that, y'all can recommend me as someone who helps small businesses create stunning and engaging content and provide value and help you save time and money. I will talk about this another time and exit out of here. If Chrissy can just pull off, that would be awesome. And just to conclude, obviously we will have more lives coming up. We have the holidays coming up, so we're not going to have as many lives scheduled. But next week, I'm going to have my own berry challenge. I want to help people create content for social media, and even if it's just topics alone for your email topics. This will really help you guys for 2021. I'm focusing on just the strategy and content alone. I'm not going to get into the technicals of everything, but I wanted to give people an opportunity to force themselves and plan it out in 5 days. So it's called 2021 Content Transformation Challenge. The event is on my Facebook account. Go check it out and you'll get the details there.
Well, this is something I'm going to be watching this live stream that will now be a video over and over again, and also telling my employees to watch it as well too, because I definitely am going to be taking these strategies and implementing them in my business plan.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope so. I hope I didn't give you guys too much information. For those of you who want to know more about each strategy, I got a lot of handouts, freebies during my backstage, during the backstage access. So, schedule a time with me. I have my link in my bio on Instagram, and you guys could schedule a time with me. I'd love to just tell you in further detail about what these topics entailed. And yeah.
All right. Well, this has been very good information. And like I said, I will be doing a little bit of homework here tonight. Well, thank you everyone so much for watching. And Julia, it's so great to see you again.
Thank you so much, Chrissy, for all your help. And thank you all for joining us.
Bye.